once again, hello! Hey! Hello YouTube guys, what is up man? I'm back for another Dank-ass video. Cause yeah, why not? So anyway, this is the continuation of the so-called Faa commentary shit, I suppose. Yeah. So this time we'll be talking about my Earth playthrough rather, not grid, sorry. I am gonna say like multiple things at the same time though. So I don't really have like somewhat like a proper setup to actually, you know, show when it comes to like Magna. You can typically run as Magna for obvious reasons. You can, but because I have Titan right now, I just don't really like going Magna anymore. So yes, so this specific footage is showing me using Titan, but I am going to do like special mentions when it comes to like Magna and all that stuff. And also because I am also using the likes of Christmas Magisa, because she just makes your life a lot easier. So I am gonna give like special mentions and put in stuff whether if you're an Earth player and you're destined to be holding that task to clear that plane damage shit, okay? I'm gonna do like those kind of mentions, okay? But besides that, it shouldn't really be that big of a deal really. So yeah, if you, as always, if you want to know my loadouts and stuff, it's gonna be updated down there. You just look at the description and you find my loadouts and stuff. And if you want to know more like how the generic set raid works, you can just watch my crash course thing, which should be out already by now. So there you go. Okay, so let's begin. So yes, once again, I am using Titan for this one. It's pretty nice because so much defense, and also Magisa helps out a lot. So either way, this is definitely my first time going through with Magisa and shit, because I've not really played Earth in a really long time, because most of the time these days I tend to prefer not playing as Earth anymore. But I decided to try it again. That's why you see I'm wearing the exact same clothes, because this is literally played a few hours ago. This was just done a few hours ago, and so here am I talking about it. Anyway, so first things first is very straightforward here. One thing to mention that I did somewhat made a mistake here, because my MC is actually using sub, Dispel, and Hardened Shield. So for this one, I highly suggest you to bring like an extra clear or whatever, so you don't have to bring a Hangman summon like I did, because this was originally my previous setup, and this was before I even had like the likes of Magisa, of course. So this one is usually just catered to like my whatever setup that doesn't have Magisa and stuff like that. And also, if you're wondering, if you're using the likes of, say, Summer LX, which I honestly think is very likely to be much better compared to the normal LX for this specific run, you can, if you have that, you can use that, that's fine. But if you do, and if you're using the likes of Magisa or whatever, you should be bringing your own Dispel. The reason why I said I made a mistake on bringing Dispel, because I'm using the original LX, and I just put a summer outfit on her. That's pretty much it. And also because having these two as your Dispeller is already more than enough. Because not to mention is that Magisa just dispels like a fucking like crazy. She just dispels like crazy. You can press her S2 to dispel. She Ogis and she also dispels. So, and then not to mention my LX also dispels by using Ogi. So in one turn, I can typically go for a triple dispel, so it's not really that needed to have my MC having dispel. So probably like, because if you're wondering, I am using the likes of Kirin, Typhoon, Hangman, and Baha for my sub summons. I am using double Titan, but you can kind of use it whatever that you have. So for my specific case, if or if not, if you're using Yugu and you're also having like the similar setup as I do, if you're using Magna for this in the same lineup as in the character composition, you can as well. So for that specific case, you definitely want to swap within Clarity instead. You definitely want Clear so you can actually swap that Hangman for like something better, maybe like Athena, or maybe having an extra like you can even put Uriel too if you want. You can also put the likes of maybe what's that, the Lucifer or whatever, because you know a lot of times in my opinion having like Magna in general always has like the lack of heals and stuff like that, especially if you're using the likes of Sarasa. So if you're using Sarasa, it can be a little bit problematic when it comes to heals. So a lot of times you really have to play around with your diamonds relatively well. And hopefully, this is a big one. If you're using Magna and you somehow whiff your delay, right, that can be a huge problem for you. You know why? Because you will be eating probably 1 or 2 Iblis at that time if you whiff your delay. So you really gotta pray that you don't whiff your delay. Because it can be a really bad thing. So yeah. Anyway, let's actually start the damn thing, because I've been like mumbling for so long already. So first things first is actually very easy. The first thing you want to do, if you're using Magisa, you just use her shit to dispel as well, and then you just buff everyone for obvious reasons and stuff. And also the first thing you also want to do most of the time, you tend to want to just blue pot, be it like whatever setup you're planning to use anyway, yeah, because unless, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely better. I mean, I was about to like mention like the monkey strat thing, but like that will only apply if you're really done with the trophies, right? But I'm assuming if you're watching this, you haven't really done this raid before, right? So yeah, you definitely want a blue pot, so just so you can have like at least a sustainable amount of HP after that, because you have to keep in mind that I am once again using Titan. If you're using Magna, you should, by right, you should have more HP than me. If I recall correctly, my my Octo is, I mean, because I did ring my Alex and Octo, so if you count like without rings, they're probably like around 37 to 38k or some shit, and then Alex would be probably like around 36k or some shit, yeah, around 36k HP or so, or 35k. Should be much better, because yeah, I typically am a lot lower HP than what I'm supposed to be, but because I ring them, so they have more HP. But as you can tell, my HP on Magisa is a whole lot lower because I didn't ring her, and her, you know, her standard ring is absolute dog shit anyway, so there's nothing I can do. So this one is fairly straightforward. So the first thing you probably want to do is, like I said, you dispel the main body, and then you just cast her S2. You can just cast her S2 straight away. I think that's fine. Then obviously I'll just nuke with Alex, and then not to mention I'll steal the meter with Octo. And keep in mind, because the wing doesn't have any meter, right? But you have to always click on the main body if you want to steal meter for Octo. So yeah, you steal meter for Octo. What I'll do is that you definitely want to Ogi turn 1 no matter what, and most of the time I think is relatively safe to actually just press S1 for what's that, Alex, just so you can get like a free turn at the start. So you just have like extra turn to go through, just so you have like extra meter or whatever if you need to push extra later. But if you don't really want to do that, if you're using Summer Alex, you probably just wait for Lance and just go through or some shit. You don't really want to press Summer Alex's S1 immediately. You probably want to wait a little bit, because it's better for you to wait for, like, say using it on like Iblis or whatever shit like that. But that really just depends on you, actually, because for this I would rather just prefer to just use sub first, or if you're using Summer Alex, you could use that first, and then if you got unlucky or whatever and then you have to go through a second Iblis, then you just use MC sub or some shit if you want to go for that route. So yeah, so for this specific one, I went for the first free turn I could. I just Ogi with Octo just so you can buff meter to everyone else. And also because since Magisa had enough meter and because her third skill also gave meter, that's why I can Ogi again. But I just Ogi again. You can typically just Ogi again, and because for this specific setup, or whatever raid party, you don't really have to Langs on your MC too early. You can just basically go with see whoever wants to Langs first. But because you have to keep in mind that usually most of the time the light guy tends to always do first. But this usually happens because if they are using Zoe, they will want to Langs first just so they can get Zoe's S3 up and running almost immediately at the start. Or if not, you can just get it up a lot faster because Langs actually reduces her cooldown. So yeah, that's why. So a lot of times and then there are probably also other players that are also using like I said Borger or whatever shit. That helps too if they're actually doing it at the start. But yeah, I know a lot of light players tends to always Langs at the beginning. But so you just have some communication with them and see who wants to do the Langs and shit. Honestly, you can just Langs whenever you want as an Earth player. Because if you're using normal Alex, you can typically just, you know, have 2 Langses basically. So this part, okay, so before I move on, right, what I usually tend to aim for as an Earth player, right, for anyone's wondering, what I usually tend to aim for is that the first Ogi, I will definitely do it. So if you're using the likes of Sarasa, you definitely want to Ogi once, right? So that's why having the first Ogi on the first turn on Octo is very, very important, because at the start, Octo will always gonna have enough meter to Ogi, because he gets hit that much and you probably have that much thing, and then you suck some meter from the main body, and then you should have enough meter to do the first turn Ogi shit. You can definitely do that, and it also give extra meter for the rest of your party, so it definitely helps. So you definitely want to do that at the start, because, you know, like I said, is essential, I would say, to at least get one Ogi in, especially if you're using the likes of Sarasa, right? If you have the job to do the plane damage shit, you have to Ogi at least once on her. Or if you're someone planning to like somehow like just kill her off, because nowadays I tend to do that since I actually really do like having Lobelia or whatever shit coming in front. But if you're forced to do that, and then maybe you have Christmas Magisa as well, you could typically also do that and then just kill her off to bring in Magisa or some shit. You could do that. It just really depends on the likes of your composition and which characters that you're using, and just go whichever characters that you are more comfortable with. So just go with your gut and see which one is better. But either way, yeah, that's how it is. So you want to Ogi as fast as possible, and then after that, what tends to happen is that I would try to just not Ogi at all. So at this point, what is going to happen is that I will want to save up my meter already, because it's very important for you to save up meter. So like, you have to have full meter for everyone at 50, right? Because you have that's the whole point. And not to mention, you don't really want to get hit too much, so you want to get that shit. Probably the most ideal one is to get it up by 6 turns. You want to get up like turn 6 or some shit. And usually at that time, if you're using Baha, if you have your own Baha, your Baha should be up already. So it's usually like a perfect turn to actually do your shit. So because this is like the 3rd turn, this is like the first Iblis, the same old thing. You want to get the whole thing done immediately. So what tends to happen is that I just sub and I just take no damage. And also, it makes it so much better that I have Magisa, because she has that wonderful, you know, the green this little green thing here. So because, you know, the very likes of Iblis always does that stupid ass shit, right? So you just don't, you know, get debuffed to Oblivion and shit. It kind of helps in a way. So, but there are still you still get that. I mean, it's not, you do get that little debuff resistance from the likes of Langs as well, but most of the time, that's why you see most of the time Earth always has this problem. That's one of the reasons why if none of your raid members actually bring clear, this this can be a little bit problematic. So that's why I said if you either do not bring Hangman, you put a clear in here, so you can actually clear. But if you're actually forfeited, well, that's really nothing you can do about that. Yeah, because I've already been through in that situation where I just get like I just got shit on RNG. Everyone just got like triple debuff or something. I have definitely experienced that before. It fucking sucks. I just have to sit there and beg for clear for like, I don't know how many turns. Because, you know, if your MC gets forfeited, you can't use summons as well, so it doesn't help that. So it really sucks to be in that position. So at times like this, since I'm thankfully did not get forfeited, I only got the stupid DOT and the stupid fear shit. And you definitely want to clear the fear shit because you want to get your meter up and running, right? You have to get your full meter up. So you have to get 2 clears before you go through a turn. You can't, especially if you're a Magna player, you really can't, what's that word? Take the chance to just, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go through and maybe I can get enough turns. No, you, it's very dangerous to do that most of the time. Unless for some reason you're like, I don't know, like you have crazy amount of HP or some shit. But most of the time a typical Earth player would not have that kind of leisure to actually have such a thing. You usually don't. So that's, and not to mention, like a moment ago I said that if you're a Magna player it's going to be even worse. Because as a Magna player you probably do not have any form of stuff in your grid that adds multi-attack besides maybe the likes of Ultima. But then again, sometimes even the likes of Ultima doesn't even help you. So there are times where you just probably fucking single attack like crazy. So, and then you just sit there and cry. There's really nothing you could do about that. So yeah, you really need to get yourself cleared before you proceed most of the time. So in my case, because I have a Hangman, I could potentially just use that to clear myself, so I'm just asking for one guy to help clear. So another thing is that one thing is probably a good idea to do is that you want to synergize with your raid members, that maybe they save their clears, let everyone pass through the first Ogi, the Iblis first, before you go to get a clear or whatever shit. So like this part, so I think my raid members are already going through, so one guy is casting and clear. But I think if I recall correctly, I didn't notice that there's another guy clearing, so I decided to use Hangman or whatever, but ended up someone clearing anyway. So like that, I didn't see that, I cast. But yeah, I decided to cast Titan instead. Okay, I guess I I totally was wrong. Never mind. So yeah, I managed to get 2 clears, so that's pretty nice. And I think we are out of clears now. So here's the problem. Here's one more problem, by the way. We've already gotten a clear. You do remember how long it takes to get the clear up and running, right? So which is like 5 turns usually, 4 turns usually. Is it 4 or 5 turns? I forgot. It takes 4 turns, yeah. So it does take a while either way. It takes a while for it to come back. So as you can see, if you look at the diamonds on Faa-san himself, right? Just look at the diamonds on the main body. He's only 2 away, right? And this is after he was gravity, right? He only has 2. The people that has clear already probably has already used their clear, and maybe they haven't gone through to reset the said clears, right? So for example, like if you need like 3 clears, for example, right? And then all these guys are already cleared for you. That's one of the main reasons why I really find really hard for you to go through a second Iblis, because Earth is always got a massive problem when it comes to getting clears, and they're always getting debuffed like crazy, and it annoys the fuck out of me at times. So that's the thing, that you really don't want to get the second Iblis. So you really want to get this wing to Ogi fast, just so you can get the the stupid wing buff thingy here off the main body, so you can actually do proper damage, so you can nuke you know, when the labors are up or some shit. So yeah, fairly straightforward. This part is just all about building up meter. I'm very, very low here. It's quite scary, but I think it should be fine because I do have like armor and stuff. So, and yeah, this is the part I was talking about earlier. This is, I guess, you consider a little bit lucky, I guess, because I did manage to land a delay. But if I were to look back at my previous runs on this shit today, on this recording, I whiffed it several times. It can be a bitch, man. Especially if your MC whiffs that delay. Because what's gonna happen is that, you know, you have to quickly get the wing to Ogi quickly, right? Just so you can get rid of the wing buff and shit. But the problem is you really need to get rid of this fucking apple. And this apple lasts for 2 turns. So what's gonna happen is that you want to pass through 2 turns. And because, you know, at that point you're already at 1 diamond, right? And if you didn't land the delay, he'll be at full diamonds, right? So it can be a little bit annoying at that part. Because, you know, like I said earlier, Earth can also be a little bit of an issue where it doesn't have enough heals or whatever shit. But if you have the likes of Magisa or maybe the likes of, yeah, Chicken or whatever, that kind of helps. But honestly, I hate Chicken so much in this raid. I tried her before. She's so fucking weak. She's so weak, she doesn't really do much for me. So yeah, if you have Magisa, you should use her. She's great. But then if you're forced to use Sarasa, then you just put Sarasa in front and put Magisa in the back, I guess. Yeah. So this is very relatively straightforward. You just do dispel, no, sorry, not dispel. You do delay the main body, then you just go through 2 more turns, and hopefully, hopefully, you have enough meter. So what is gonna happen is that you really want to play around with the meter, and because Octo usually by this turn you get his S3 back up again. That's why pressing his S2 from time to time definitely is gonna be like ideal in whichever situations, just so you can at least get everyone's meter up to par and ready. So at this point I'm actually very, very safe. I could potentially just auto attack 1 more time and I should be done, because everyone is already so close to full meter and I'm ready, and I only need 1 more turn anyway. So yeah, so I just decided to do that anyway, because why not? Because yeah, so this is the part where you just wait for lengths and go for 1 more turn, and you just have to chill. You have to just chill. And yeah, you just wait for 50 basically, because you really don't want to take too many turns, like I said earlier, because it's very, very dangerous for you to take multiple Iblises at the start. So yeah, take that. Since I already got the lengths, I go through. Very straightforward. Wow, I managed to get a dodge there. I didn't notice I got a dodge there. What the fuck? Okay, so as you can see, my Baha already came up, right? My Baha is here. It already came up, so it's perfect. You see, everyone's on full HP. I can do extra. I decided to also save the nuke on Magisa. You typically don't really have to, but if you're afraid that you do not have enough damage, you definitely want to save as much nukes as you can, because at this part, right, usually at this part, if you're too unconfident with your damage, right, you definitely want to like keep as much nukes as you can in order for you to, you know, have that 10 million damage. But honestly, if you're using like a typical Magna 2 setup and you have Octo full limit break and you have like whatever LX or whatever shit, like even Sarasa for example, you shouldn't have any problems doing that 10 million damage, trust me. Especially when you're gonna, you know, use a Baha or some shit. Because typically you could also just, I don't know, just ask someone else for Baha, because Baha is typically like everywhere anyway, so should not really be a problem for you. So at this point, right, one of the main reasons, going back again on why I actually wanted to press my lengths early, is also because this is the part where you're typically just sitting and waiting, right? Because, you know, like the main body is at 99, the wing is still at 54. You just kind of have to probably check maybe they're not ready yet or some shit. So at this point of time, you as the Earth player is not going to do anything. You're just going to sit there. And the main reason why I wanted to lengths early is because maybe they needed lengths to push again, right? Because at this point, you're definitely going to sit back and you want to what's that? You're probably gonna eat multiple Lanxes anyway, because this one you just gotta wait. People have to still cycle through turns and shit like that. So it's best to. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do early. And the same goes for LX. So this one, if I need to go like an extra turn or some shit, I can press my own what's that? LX turn later on or some shit, because you know there are times where maybe because everyone is already using their Lanx here, then you kind of want to go through turns on your own and shit, so you don't have to rely on others. So yeah, this is a really good spot for that specific part. So yeah, once again, I'm here waiting. So I'm just like communicating with them and see what they need or whatever shit. I'm just waiting, and I decided to pot because I'm also trying to aim for the green apple, because I'm already at this point, right? I have 2 diamonds here and I have like 1 diamond left. So what's gonna happen is that there is a chance for you to be an paralyzed loss, because what's gonna happen is that you have to also keep in mind that yeah, I'm actually very thankful that someone did manage to land the gravity there after a while. Because usually you're supposed to have a gravity at this point, because we gravitated relatively late for this one, because I think we totally forgot to ask each other at that point, say, hey, you guys are fucking ready or some shit. I think this one was like, I think yeah, MD was like, yo, are you guys like through yet? It's like close to like 50, right? So it's like, yeah, he ended up doing it, but it's kind of unfortunate that the main body didn't land, but honestly, it's still okay at this point. It's fine, because it's actually perfect for you. Because if you didn't exactly know, I'm not sure if I actually mentioned this before, but if you go through a set trigger, right, most of the time the diamonds doesn't like reset, because you know there are some bosses when they go through like certain triggers, the diamonds actually like resets or whatever shit, right? But this doesn't reset, so it stays there, and then this diamond moves forward. So there are times like if this doesn't get gravity, right, the wing, it can be very dangerous. So it'll be, if this thing that did not get gravity, it'll be a paradise loss. So thankfully there's a gravity on this one. So yeah, same thing, you just sit back and wait. This entire part, you just sit back and wait and just see whether they're okay to push or whatever shit. Yeah. Yep, let's just wait then. You just wait. There's really nothing you can do. Just waiting for the whether the. Yeah, and then this part here. Okay, I got a little bit explained here. The reason why I decided to grab the Tiamat there is that because I'm using the original LX, right? So I'm always saving LX S2 for 95 or like whatever shit. Or same goes for like if it's not 95 or whatever, I'll just use LX S2 anyway. But like I was saying, like if I could actually get like a Tiamat to bypass the thing, so I don't have to use LX S2, right? Because typically you only need a Tiamat to go through 95 anyway. And I know for a fact, because it's already 97, I'll definitely hit at minimum 95, 100%, because of Octo's damage and all that shit. Plus because I have like Magisa and all, I actually over damaged it like crazy. So, and the main reason why I did that is because I was thinking I could use this for Paradise Lost. I was trying to like be that, because I don't think we have really like a lot of people to settle for Paradise Lost. I think it's only like the Dark guy and myself, and maybe I think the Fire guy. I don't remember actually, but yeah. So I was just trying, because we don't really know, like we can never know who can actually get the Paradise Lost first, right? So usually whoever that can actually do Paradise Lost, myself included, will try to set up for it. So the better, if we can set up for it. So usually what we tend to do is that we just, in the middle of the raid, we'll just we'll just let each other know, say, okay, I'm probably gonna hit Paradise Lost in say 2 turns or some shit. Then it's like, oh, then maybe your partner's like, oh, I need 3 turns or shit. So okay, since you're already gonna go for it, I'm just gonna delay my side and just, you know, just ignore Paradise Lost altogether and shit like that. So that's why I went to go for Tiamat first. I crossed the Tiamat just so maybe I can try and set it up early and shit like that. So yeah. So anyway, if you're using the Sarasa strat here, if you're doing that, right, and you need to do the plane damage, this is one of those times that you hopefully have already OG'd at least once, like I mentioned earlier. If you did not, well, shit. You, well, time to retreat. Just kidding. Yeah, like I said, you want to do at least one Ogi because you want to switch Sarasa's weapon to the sword mode, because you can get her to either X mode or the sword mode, right? You typically want to get her to sword mode if you're getting her to like what's that? Killing her off later or some shit, right? So if you're using the sword mode, you will do 2 million minus 1 damage. So typically you can actually get 2 million, but if you have like this poison thing here, or this whatever other DOT stuff, or like burn or whatever shit, any DOT stuff on the main body, you're pretty much set, because that is actually acting as plain damage as well. So if you're using Sarasa, you just need to Ogi with a sword, and as long as you have any burn or DOT stuff, it will clear. It will definitely clear. So yeah, that is that one thing you need to keep in mind. But if you're also using, like, say, if you're maybe like if you're Lobelia or whatever shit, usually I kill off Sarasa here, because if I need to bring in if I have Lobelia or whatever battered character in the backline, because you have to keep in mind, if you're using Sarasa and Octo, they're both the same race, right? One of them are definitely going to die. So typically, it really just depends on whether you want to keep Sarasa all the way till 25, or you just, you know, have someone to take over around here, because it's much better for someone to take over here rather than just using Sarasa. Because honestly, I feel like Sarasa's damage is insanely huge, but at the same time, you can kind of negate it with like extra sustain, and it'll be probably a lot better for you at that time, so you can like maybe go through more turns safely and shit like that. So yeah, most of the time, because I have Lobelia at the back line, I ground 0 here. And because I'm also using skill cap, all thanks to Lobelia, so my grid, I'm also using like skill cap and shit. So what tends to happen is that my ground 0 alone will immediately turn to 2 million. So that one ground 0 is automatically just I just get rid of that thing entirely, just as simple as I just press ground 0, and hopefully the plain damage kills her off, because I really hope that the plain damage kills her off. I'm usually afraid that sometimes there are definitely times where if your group just have massive DPS or whatever shit, there are times where at this point, after you nuke, people are like, they just want to clear all their labors and shit, and then they nuke all the way until 85 or close to 85. So at that point, you probably wouldn't have your sub up yet or some shit, and then your Sarasa's going to die. And you know the 85 trigger, if one character dies by that specific trigger, it will spread. So yeah, you don't really want that. So okay, moving on. So this is the part where I try to set up for the damn thing. Same thing. So okay, now let's just watch. I've already done so much explanation, right? So this is the part. Now just watch what happens, I guess. So I wait for the person. The fire guy was a little bit unconfident, and looks like he did. He was right on that, because if he didn't Lanx, he would have fucking died there. So we are just waiting for the fire guy to go through again. Like anytime now. There we go. So yeah, now it's gone through. You have to press Octo S2 if you want your fucking big deeps. So I already got my mirror, so I just said, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Just everyone ready? I'm also asking for Anira S1 and the person doing the plain damage did. So the person that is doing the 2 million plain damage is actually the fire guy, because he's using Zeta for this one. So I asked him to get rid of that first before I go through. So yeah, now, anytime now. Yeah, so that, like I said earlier, I decided to do extra nuke here. So now that's over, I boom, nuke, and I think it went to like 94 or 93, so it was a relatively big nuke. Yeah, very, very big nuke. Someone else nuked, so that's why it turns to 90 at this point. And this part here can be a little bit tricky, because I also noticed that setting up for Paradise Lost can be a bit of a challenge here. So luckily the dark guy managed to set up much better than me, so he's doing it instead of me. So I decided to, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna, excuse me, just gonna go through the Ogi normally and shit. So at this point I actually use the Titan thing so the Axiom Apocalypse doesn't kill me. It can be very dangerous, so you can never be too sure. Having armored really helps a lot. So then right now I'm just waiting for Langs and shit, or whatever. Yep, so go through. This should not deal too much damage. Yeah, see, as you can see, my HP is still relatively okay, because armored, man, armored so damn good. And also because I went through Axiom, we went all the way through 3 stacks, so it's actually very, very scary. So that's the thing. So I already know for a fact that someone is already going through the Paradise Lost, right? So that's why I aim for the blue, the green blue, the green apple buff instead. So just so I can like get myself healthy without using the likes of pots and shit. Most of the time, if you're not using like any sustainable characters, you know, like chicken or whatever shit, you kind of want to have the green apple. So most of the time, what I tend to do is like, if you want to get the green apple and you want to do Paradise Lost at the same time, what tends to happen is that I try to set it up for later. Because as you can see right now, the bar is at 1. Alright, the bar is at 1, that's 3, so typically that's 3 more turns. So what's gonna happen is that I'll try to delay the wing later. Because what's gonna happen is that he's gonna Ogi, right? 1 more turn is gonna Ogi. 2 turns is gonna Ogi, so it'll be at 2 turns, right? So it'll be at 2 turns, and then 1 more turn he goes through, it'll be at 1, right? So if you delay the wing, you'll be at nicely. You can go through 1 more turn, and then you'll be at Paradise Lost. So usually, that's typically how you try to play around with the diamond, just so you can actually try to go into Paradise Lost or whatever shit. That is only if you're planning to go through. If not, you can just ignore what I just said the last few seconds. So at this point, because Paradise Lost is done already, I'm just trying to get myself healed up. And so typically, yeah, just waiting for Lang. So now we also know that because Paradise Lost is done, we can just aim for the wing and kill that wing immediately. And also this is the other part where I was actually asking my raid members whether is it okay for me to nuke. But I got a feeling that if, like, you see the setup that I have, if I nuke, because it's at 88%, there's a high chance of it is going to go 85. And then some of them are saying they're not ready for 85 yet. So this is the part where I decided to go back to the wing and just auto instead. Because I do want to save my nuke for the main body, because I need to dispel it, remember? Because it's already at 2 stacks. It can be a little bit sketchy, but it should not be a problem. Because what happens is that, as you all know, I have like crazy amount of dispels here, right? So it's not really gonna be a problem. Plus, I even brought dispel on my MC2. That's why. So honestly, if you think you don't have enough dispel or whatever, just bring like a dispel summon or some shit. But honestly, if you're using that setup as I am, you should not have any problems. So yeah, I'm just autoing, as always. I'm just autoing just so I can pass through turns and shit. And then I'm like asking, wait, are you guys ready? Because I really want to nuke this main body. Because what's gonna happen is that he's gonna do Axiom again. So if it does Axiom again, it's gonna add two more stacks again. But then it's like they're saying is some of them are ready, some of them are probably not. But I'm thinking like, wait, it's 89%. I don't think I can do 89% worth of the damage. So I decided to, okay, you know what, let me just auto 1 more time, and then it should be just nice. Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, you know what, since I Baha up as well, let's go all in. And I think I did not realize that there was a Lucifer in there and shit too. So I decided, oh hey, that's nice. Because a lot of times, the Earth Flare, it would be nice if you can get like the likes of Lucifer, I don't know, Zeus or some shit, those summons that gives you extra sustain. It helps out a lot. And so this nuke hits a lot. This nuke is so huge that I wanted to watch. You see, I was so proud of myself for some fucking reason there. I wanted to see Magisa's damage actually. And then Magisa's like, ooh, oh damn, look at the facial expression, god damn. Oh damn, that was so good shit. So yeah, I was just like, just fucking around at that point because I already know I'm just gonna hit there just fine. And you see, now I'm also at Paradise Lost, but it's not Overdrive yet. So, if you didn't know, if you're not at Overdrive yet, you have to keep in mind that what's gonna happen is that it will do two Ogis, basically. It will do Force first, it will do the usual wing buff. I think because I already gone through the Fig, because that gives the green apple shit. So it should be the Mars again, but because we already triggered Labors, right, it will not trigger the Mars with the wing thingy on the main body anymore. So yeah, that will not happen anymore. So typically it's not really a problem, but because I'm saying like, hey, you know what? I still see something here. I still see something there. You know what? My Typhoon is up. Let's fucking use that and nuke that shit again, because... I was just having so much fun nuking, man. It was a blast. Honestly, it's like you shouldn't really use your Typhoon like that. Because you know, like I already have like a full, what's that? I still do have this if it's needed for like Paradise Lost or whatever, but because I don't need Paradise Lost anymore, I'm just gonna save that for like another, I don't know, nuke or whatever. So I just Typhoon and nuke anyway, cause who gives a shit? Yeah, man, just nuke, press S4, who cares? Just nuke, okay? Use self flanks, yeah, man, just get extra fucking armor. Oh, I was like, oh hey, another Typhoon. Bam, let's nuke that shit again. Yeah, that was a really fun run, man, not gonna lie. It was a really fun run. Because Magisa made... Seriously, having the likes of Christmas Magisa make everything so trivial. Everything was so easy with her around, basically. Because, as you all know, I'm running double Titans, right? And I have Magisa as well. Magisa Titans give armor. I can basically cycle my armor to be permanent, if you did not notice. So, yeah. It's pretty insane. But yeah, it was really fun. Like, yeah, just go through, fuck it, you know. And I was like, should I press that even though I have my armor up? But I decided to do that anyway, because I, for some reason, wanted extra refresh. It honestly doesn't matter. Now I'm just waiting for Langs again, and then at this point, it's just going to be orbital blackness because the wing is already dead. So at this point, you just basically just be careful for 60. So I know I didn't mention this earlier, but a lot of times I tend to use sub on MC to negate the 85 one. The 85 trigger, I'll use my MC sub. For 95, if there's no Tiamat or whatever, I'll just stick with having the likes of use the likes of Alex. You can, if you're using summer version, you can just use her S1 or some shit. She probably won't die too either way. So yeah. So for 60, because I do not have the likes of Athena, so I was originally planning to just wait for 55 because I do not want to, well, kill off the rain and shit. I don't really have any other ways to survive because Alex S2 only negates one hit, right? And Axiom on 60 hits 3 times on each character, so there's no way I could do that. But from what I recall, I did manage to grab someone's Athena, so I did manage to actually, well, provide more DPS that way. Yeah, see, I saw Athena there, and I was like, can I grab that? You know, I'm gonna grab that shit, thank you. So I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing that shit. Look at my fucking awesome meter. Boom again, let's go. I'm like, but gotta wait for Langs first though. If I don't wait for Langs, I'm gonna die. Because I only have Athena, right? Gotta wait for Langs first. Yeah, there we go. Alright, got my Langs. Bam, let's go, boys. You're going to town, boys. I gotta flex. Oh, look at that score. Actually, it's not as high as the way I do with my dark and shit, but yeah. Still pretty okay, though. Still pretty okay, and also because with that crazy amount of fucking, nukes I've been doing, obviously the stacks is at 0, and also just now I casted Titan because my armor is already off, so... Yeah, just waiting for Langs as always, then just go through. So, usually at this point, after 60%, yeah, it's relatively free. You're just doing the same shit. You cycle your Langses, you go through safely, because it's just going to be orbital blackness and stuff. And then, yeah, it's not orbital blackness as long as it's 0 stacks and you're somewhat on a healthy health pool. It should not be that big of a deal. You really shouldn't be that. Now I was like, oh hey, another typhoon. Dude, I've been catching typhoons left and right in this raid, man. It was amazing. So yeah, anyway, it's just like a very, very straightforward thing. And then because I also noticed I decided to not nuke because it's already at 29. You kind of want to like make sure to have everyone be ready for that 25% trigger, which is the go first arc thing, to kill off any extra counters. And also because I am using Highlander with Kame, so I am taking a counter. But because I also noticed that the counter is still relatively healthy at 5, and not really like a lot of people are actually needing to go through. So what happened is that I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna fucking go through. I'm just gonna, you know, go through, take that Lucifer, get extra heals, Kirin, set up another insane nuke right after this, because why the fuck not? So yeah, just press the necessary skills. Just have my Kame to die. At this point, my damage is going to drop. Because Kame actually provides you a fuck ton of damage. But because Kame is gonna die, you're gonna lose out all the damage. But still, thankfully, I'm still using the Anubis stick and stuff. So Highlander isn't really that bad. Plus, I have quite a few good weapons in a way. So yeah, I'm pretty thankful for that. So it's honestly quite free at this point as well. So you can typically just, you know, press that. I press that again to give extra meter. Bam, full meter again. I can nuke again. So I was just saying, oh hey, it's already 16 or 15%. So what happens is that I just use sub on MC and go through, and then I just wait for the 10%. Typically, if you do not have enough DPS, you probably will not be able to encounter this kind of stuff. So you have to actually play around with your delays or whatever shit, and also not to mention just so you can cycle your sit sub or whatever stuff to come back up relatively soon, because the 20% and 50% can really kick your ass if you don't really use like, you know, full cut or whatever shit, right? So so this part, yeah, it's quite straightforward again, because I can't really do much anymore. I typically could, but because the other raid members wanted to take extra turns and stuff, so I decided to just wait at this point, because it's already 11 as well. So I just waited and let them do their thing. So I just, yeah, wait. So now it's 10%. If you usually want to go through 10%, you just press LX S2 and you should be fine. If you're using Summer LX, you just press Summer LX S1. Should be good. So now typically one by one people are dying already at this point, and it's already like 4%. Typically I could go through, but I'm just like fucking around, just waiting and chilling there, because this is already like a confirmed kill, because the wind guy hasn't really fully gone through, and he's gonna do like probably like a 4 or 5% nuke with some shit and some stuff. Yeah. So there you have it. Easy peasy run, right? Easy peasy run. Then people in the comments will be going like, hey, that'll be easy too. I catch Typhoon left and right, getting all these Lucifers. Hey, easy clap. But yeah, honestly, if you ask me, if you don't, it's still somewhat okay. But the main thing that you really want to do is definitely getting the green apple thing. The green apple thing is very, very important, because you probably really need that if you're lacking in like sustain. Because like if you want to have like any extra heals after that, it can be a very, very hard thing. If you do not have like the likes of, say, you have do not have Uriel, or you do not have Lucifer, or any sort of heals, like even Nobio or whatever, because I kind of noticed quite a few people do not have Nobio when they try to join in my chat runs or whatever, right? So Nobio actually is not too bad too, because it can typically heal and it gives you meter, which something that Earth really needs in like majority of the cases. So it just really depends on your situation, what kind of summons that you have. You just go with whatever that you have that is probably best for the said setup. So yeah, just go whichever. Honestly, Magna 2, if you have the typical Magna 2 setup, you still do just fine. I'm fairly certain you can. It just really depends on like how well you actually go through the turns and stuff. It's not really that hard to actually do damage with Earth, man. Seriously, if you're using like a typical Magna 2 setup, it's super free as long as you have like Octo Full Limit Break. Because Octo Full Limit Break is there to give you all the damage you need. He's there to damage for you. You're not expecting the likes of MC or even the likes of Alex to do damage. Octo is there to do all the damage for you. Even if your autos is dog shit, your damage for Ogi is always consistently 4 million or some shit anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Because Octo alone himself, he can probably hit like close to 10 million on his own, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. And plus, if you're using the likes of like Magisa, or heck, I think even some people even consider running like Christmas Naru or some shit, then your damage will be even skyrocketing even harder, right? Because Naru can do so well and shit. But for Faa in general, I would honestly consider Magisa a much better character. You can actually consider like the likes of Chicken or whatever shit, that works too. But a lot of times I really do like having Lobelia in here, because what tends to happen by having Lobelia is that Lobelia can come in clutch in a lot of cases, especially when it comes to like much slower runs. If you're in a much slower run and you're in a much, say, weak, your other raid members aren't too too strong or whatever, you could typically just have Lobelia to consistently reset your skills. Not really exactly reset, more like it just reduces the cooldown, right? It helps you get your shit up relatively quickly. So if you're consistently busting all his stacks or whatever, you're consistently getting DPS in by pressing any sort of buttons, right? So that's great. And then not to mention, he also allows you to get your lengths up relatively fast, because lengths is usually like 5 turns cooldown, right? Whenever you press it. So you can get your lengths up back up in 2 turns, as long as you press his S2, that is. So it's pretty damn good. That's why I just really find Lobelia in general is really, really good for this raid. Especially if it's very, very slow and you're lacking in DPS. Because you're actually doing a lot of DPS, even though you're taking much lesser turns. You have to keep that in mind. That's really pretty much Lobelia's playstyle. So yeah, pretty much I guess that's kind of like about it. Earth can be a little bit honestly, I think Earth element is probably one of the harder elements to actually deal with if you're still relatively new and you're like super super new. You have never run this before. It can be very, very scary, because like, especially if you're doing the plane damage, you're doing the overchain and all the paradise loss, all that shit. So like, excuse me, all of that shit is fucking poured into like pressuring your ass off or whatever stuff. It can be really, really hard for a new guy. So a lot of times can be really stressful. I understand, because like lack of HP and stuff can be relatively rough, but trust me, just do your best. If it fails, don't worry about it, just try again. It's not really a big deal, because all this stuff, even I don't really fucking get things done easily in first try. You actually think I cleared this in my first try? Just go watch my day one Faa-san highlights, man. Yeah, that is the real boomer shit right there. But anyway, that's my commentary for my Earth Elemental Faa-san run. This probably took way longer than I expected. So anyway, hopefully you can find this helpful and shit. Yeah, comment, like, subscribe, whatever. Hopefully you find this helpful, share or whatever. Yeah, thank you, bye-bye. Ricardo Flick, and yeah. Ricardo Flick.